So, partition of Bengal. Let's talk about the partition of Bengal. Bengal was nerve center of Indian nationalism. Bengal was nerve center of Indian nationalism. All the political ideologies was coming from Bengal, and it had spreaded in different parts of India. It had spreaded in different parts of India, like moderate, extremist, and revolutionary ideologies. Moderate, extremist, and revolutionary ideologies. Curzon wanted to divide Bengal in order to create social and economic crisis. Social and economic crisis. Which will come as an urgent local crisis. Social and economic crisis, which will come as an urgent local crisis. So that the nationalist attention will get diverted. Nationalist attention will get diverted. Nationalist attention will get diverted. The theory of Curzon was very much supported by British Home Ministry. Supported by British Home Ministry. Secretary of State for India, Risley, Secretary of State for India, Risley, in conversation with Curzon, said, Bengal United is a power. Bengal United is a power. Bengal divided will pull Bengal will pull Bengal in several different ways. Bengal United is a power. Bengal divided will pull Bengal in several different ways. Several different ways. Several different ways. So Bengal United is a power. Bengal divided will pull Bengal in several different ways. So design of the Curzon was very much endorsed Risley to Curzon. Risley was a Secretary of State for India. But Curzon-Kitchener controversy Curzon-Kitchener controversy led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. Led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. Curzon-Kitchener controversy led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. Led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. This controversy was about role of military commander in Viceroy's Executive Council. Role of military commander in Viceroy's Executive Council. So Curzon-Kitchener controversy led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. This controversy was about role of military commander in Viceroy's Executive Council. Role of military commander in Viceroy's Executive Council. After resignation of Lord Curzon, resignation of Lord Curzon, Lord Minto II he became the Viceroy. And Lord Minto, he implemented the partition of Bengal 16th October 1905. Partition plan was announced. Partition plan was announced. So partition plan became effective Lord Minto second, 16th October 1905. So partition plan became effective. Lord Minto second. So look at here on the board, and I am giving you the chronology of the events, and that chronology we will follow in the concluding part of the partition of Bengal. So Lord Minto, he became Viceroy. Partition plan was effective. Became effective. Partition plan became effective. October 1905. In 1906, Muslim League came into existence. Muslim League was established. 1907, division of Indian National Congress, which is called Surat split. And 1909, separate electorates was granted. To Muslim. And 1911, Delhi Darbar. So partition of Bengal came into effect, and after that the final conclusion of the partition of Bengal will come in Delhi Darbar. Delhi Darbar. Final conclusion of the partition of Bengal will be in Delhi Darbar. Okay. Thereafter, we will start Muslim League, and we will make connect with the separate electorates. And the first thing we will study here, second thing here, and then third thing will be division of Congress. So all these things would go parallel. So I hope there won't be any confusion if we'll talk about the partition of Bengal and other issues. There won't be any confusion in that. So partition plan came into effect. This is all from the side of the Minto. So partition of Bengal was done on the basis of language. Reducing the Bengali to a minority in Bengal itself. Minority in Bengal itself. In the new proposal, Bengal proper was to have 17 million Bengalis and 37 million Hindi and Oriya speakers. On the basis of religion, western half was to be Hindu majority area and the eastern half was to be Muslim majority area. So on the basis of language and on the basis of religion. This is the real plan of the partition which got reflected in the partition plan. On the basis of language and on the basis of religion. But after the announcement of partition plan, Swadeshi movement also started in Bengal. Swadeshi movement also started in Bengal. Swadeshi movement also started in Bengal. Swadeshi movement like lawyers resigned from the Bar Council, panchayats started hearing the grievances of the people. There was social boycott. Women who were traditionally home-centered, especially those of the urban middle classes, took active part in procession and picketing. Took active part in procession and picketing. Students participated in large number. Very soon the Swadeshi movement spreaded in different parts of India. Swadeshi movement spreaded in different parts of India. In Pune and Bombay, under Tilak. In Punjab, under Lala Lajpat Rai and Ajit Singh. In Delhi, under Syed Haider Raja. In Madras, under Chidambaram Pillai. So all the extremist leaders of the Congress were involved in spread of Swadeshi movement. Were involved in spread of Swadeshi movement. All the extremist leader of Congress. Were involved in spread of Swadeshi movement. Indian National Congress in Banaras session had taken up the issue of partition of Bengal. Had taken up the issue of partition of Bengal. The session was presided by Gokhale. The moderate extremist differences came to the fore. Extremists wanted to boycott and Swadeshi outside Bengal. And also to include all forms of associations such as government service, law, courts, legislative councils, etc. within the boycott, and thus start a nationwide movement. And a nationwide mass movement. The extremists wanted a strong resolution supporting the program at the session. A strong resolution supporting the program at the session. moderates were not in favor of extending the movement outside Bengal. And were totally opposed to the boycott of councils and the similar associations. So the moderates were not in favor of extending the movement beyond Bengal. And were totally opposed to boycott of councils and similar associations. They advocated strictly constitutional methods to protest against the partition. As a compromise, a relatively mild resolution condemning the partition and the reactionary policies of Curzon and supporting the Swadeshi and boycott in Bengal was passed. As a compromise, a relatively mild resolution condemning the partition and the reactionary policies of Curzon and supporting the Swadeshi and boycott in Bengal was passed. So this was Banaras session of Congress, and we can see that differences between moderate and extremist. So 1905 Banaras session. So Congress had almost divided in two segments related to the partition of Bengal. Extremists wanted that there should be all India movement with boycott of all the things. Moderate says no. Movement should be confined to Bengal and boycott of councils and similar associations should not be there. So finally, as a compromise, a relatively mild resolution condemning the partition and the reactionary policies of Karjan and supporting the Swadeshi and the boycott in Bengal was passed. Boycott in Bengal was passed. As a compromise. But 1905. So remember 16th October 1905 partition plan was announced and thereafter there was a Banaras session. But very soon the momentum of anti-partition movement had increased. And once the momentum of anti-partition had increased, so extremists got huge support. Extremists got huge support from the people. So therefore extremists were very much emboldened by the support and therefore extremists said that we need to pass the resolution on Swaraj. So in the next session, the tension between moderate and extremist became more. Kolkata session of Indian National Congress. Calcutta session of Indian National Congress. So moderate enthusiasm had cooled a bit because of the popularity of extremist and the revolutionary terrorist. Extremists wanted either Tilak or Lajpat Rai as the president. While the moderates proposed the name of Dada Bhai. Moderates proposed the name of Dada Bhai. Extremists wanted either Tilak or Lajpat Rai as the president, while the moderates proposed the name of Dada Bhai. Finally, Dada Bhai was elected as the president, and as a concession to the extremist, Swaraj was defined as the goal of the Congress. Swaraj was defined as the goal of the Congress. Four resolutions was passed. also. Four compromise resolutions supporting the program of the Swadeshi boycott, self-government and national education was passed. The word Swaraj was mentioned for the first time. But its connotations was not spelled out, which left field open for differing interpretations by the moderates and extremists. Moderates and extremists. So we have seen that how moderate and extremists had differences related to the partition of Bengal, but extremists had advantage. And finally, extremists forced moderates to pass 4 resolutions. The word Swaraj was mentioned for the first time, but its connotation was not spelled out. Means what is the meaning of the word Swaraj? What is it? Is independence or what? Which left field open for interpretation. Whatever you wanted to think about, you can go ahead and think. Okay. So therefore, both moderate and extremist had differences in approach related to the partition of Bengal. Muslim League, ML means Muslim League. Muslim League after its establishment in 1906 had supported partition of Bengal. Had supported partition of Bengal. Because Muslim were getting the separate province for the Muslims. supported the partition of Bengal. In Bengal, the anti-partition movement was taken by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore. He started Raksha Bandhan Divas, among Hindus and Muslims. Hindus and Muslims, to express the solidarity between Hindus and Muslims, Raksha Bandhan Divas, to express the solidarity between Hindus and Muslims. Rabindranath Tagore. He composed cultural song of Bengal, Amar Sonar Bangla. Amar Sonar Bangla. My Bengal is gold. So, anti-partition movement in Bengal. After Minto, Lord Hardinge second came as a viceroy. During his time, Delhi Darbar was organized. In 1911, British King George V came to India. British King George V came to India. George V came to India, British King. He made 3 announcements in Delhi Darbar. You are surprised to see that time 5 lakh people came to greet King. You can understand that in India, the gathering of the people is very easy. Even if you have a JCB machine there digging soil, you can see the 50-100 people will come, stand up like anything to see that JCB machine. So here in Delhi Darbar also, The 5 lakh people were there in the 1911 to greet the king, including Raja Nawab, all. So George V, British king, came to India. George V, the partition of Bengal was taken back. Partition of Bengal was taken back. Partition of Bengal was taken back. Was taken back. Second, Bihar was separated from Bengal. Separated from Bengal. And capital of India shifted from Calcutta to Delhi. Calcutta to Delhi. So these three, George V had announced in 1911. And all these became effective in 1912. So partition of Bengal. So this is what about the partition of Bengal. You must remember this line that I have drawn here. The anti-partition movement started here, and then culmination of the anti-partition movement in the Delhi Darbar, 1911. Now come to the establishment of Muslim League, and then grant of separate electorates to Muslim. Establishment of Muslim League and grant of separate electorates to Muslims. And then we will study this division of Indian National Congress and Surat split. So this method will help you in establishing the chronology, and at the same time you writing answer in the mains, you can connect the dots from where you have to start and from where you have to end. So, partition of Bengal, Curzon-Kitchener controversy led to the resignation of Lord Curzon. Kitchener was a military commander in the Viceroy's Executive Council, means Curzon's council. But Kitchener had initiated the military parade of Indian military, and many military failed to pass the Kitchener test. So Kitchener had presented report and sent to the Home Ministry. So obviously Home Ministry of England scolded Curzon like anything. So Curzon asked the question that how without permission of Viceroy, the member of the Viceroy's Executive Council started anything in military. So the controversy was a role of military commander in Viceroy's Executive Council. So this is called Curzon-Kitchener controversy. And what happened to the Delhi Darbar? You can see Delhi Darbar. The three important decisions were taken. The partition of Bengal was taken back. Second, Bihar was separated from Bengal. And third, the capital of India was transferred from Calcutta to Delhi. There is a question, sir, our prominent leaders tried their best to unite Indian citizens, neglecting their religion, caste, color, etc. to achieve independence. But after independence, yes, there are so many things involved. The regional politics, lack of education is the factor. Caste factor is a very deeply rooted fact after independence when the self-interest started guiding. So this is one of the factors that you can say India is still trying to become a nation and is still under the grip of so many discriminatory facts that created the factional political structure of India. So that making the task of integrated nation very difficult. So development is the issue. National politics would be a key solution. So establishment of Muslim League. Establishment of Muslim League. The major factor that led to the establishment of Muslim League, first, the leader of Aligarh movement, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, leader of Aligarh movement, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, tried to oppose the establishment of Indian National Congress. He said that establishment of Congress would increase the dominance of Hindus in politics. Hindu dominance in politics will increase the dominance of Hindus in politics. After establishment of Congress, many Muslim leaders wanted separate political organization for Muslims. Separate political organization for Muslims. Separate political organization for Muslims. Second, British policies of divide and rule particularly during the time of Lord Minto, persuaded Muslims to form separate organization. Persuaded Muslims to form separate organization. Third, during the partition of Bengal, there was enough communalization of Bengali population. Enough communalization of Bengali population. During the partition of Bengal, there was enough communalization of Bengali population. So communal intensity persuaded Muslim leaders to form separate political organization. And fourth, Hindi-Urdu controversy. Hindi-Urdu controversy. So Muslims wanted Urdu with Persian script, and Hindus wanted Hindi with Devanagari script. The Muslims resented Hindi and therefore official language. So Hindus held counter meetings and their controversy continued for months as the rift between the communities widened. This led to the communal polarization. Thus, it is considered as the major reason which led to the formation of Muslim League. So Hindi-Urdu controversy. So Muslim League was established. The Muslim League was established at Dhaka by Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka. First president of Muslim League was Aga Khan. Aga Khan III. You know, Aga Khan is not a name of the person, but the head of the religious head of the Shia community, Aga Khan. So Muslim League was established by Aga Khan. First president of Muslim League was Aga Khan III. Its headquarters was held at Lucknow, was placed at Lucknow. Initially, many members of Congress were the members of Muslim League. Many members of the Congress were the members of Muslim League. members of Muslim League. So, dual membership was permitted. Many members of the Congress were the members of Muslim League as well. There was a person named Hakim Azmal Khan. Hakim Azmal Khan. He was president of Indian National Congress, president of Muslim League, and vice chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia University, Delhi. Jamia Millia Islamia University, Delhi. So, Indian National Congress, Muslim League, and Jamia Millia Islamia University, Delhi. So, many members of the Congress were the members of Muslim League as well. But Muslim League demanded separate electorates for the Muslims. Muslim League demanded separate electorates for the Muslims. Separate electorates for the Muslims. So, Muslim League demanded separate electorates for the Muslims. In 1909, Morley Minto reform Morley Minto reform Government of India Act was passed. Under Morley Minto reform, Government of India Act was passed. Under this act, separate electorates was granted to Muslims. Separate electorates was granted to Muslims. Separate electorates was granted to Muslims. Government of India Act was passed. Congress opposed the grant of separate electorates Congress opposed the grant of separate electorates which resulted in ideological difference between Congress and Muslim League. Ideological difference between Congress and Muslim League. Ideological difference between Congress and Muslim League. Now the third issue, 1907 division of Indian National Congress, which is called Surat Split. Surat Split. Division of Indian National Congress and Surat Split. (1907). Surat Split. So we have seen the differences between moderate and extremist. 1905 Calcutta session, 1905 Banaras session, 1906 Calcutta session. The partition of Bengal had become the key issue of the differences. But differences at all levels were already there. Mass base, method and technique, objectivity was already there in the Congress. So all over the things suddenly, during the partition of Bengal, the intensity of the differences had cropped up, and the differences finally resulted in division of Indian National Congress in Surat. So in 1907 Surat, the president of the Congress, Ras Bihari Ghosh. So Ras Bihari Ghosh, he was actually wanted to take back the resolution of 1906. 1906, 4 resolutions was passed: Swadesi, boycott, Swaraj or self-government, and the national education. The 4 resolutions was passed. So wanted to take back all the 4 resolutions. Wanted to take back all the 4 resolutions. Fine. So therefore the Swadeshi movement was taken up. So it further heated the differences between Congress and between the moderate and extremist. So finally in Surat 1907, the extremists wanted to take strict measures to implement the 4 resolutions, and then moderates wanted to take back the resolution of 1907. This is the reason why the differences had cropped up. Differences had cropped up. Division of Indian National Congress. Surat split, 1907. The culmination of differences between moderate and extremist reached to its climax in Surat session of Indian National Congress. Surat session of Indian National Congress. In Surat session, moderates wanted to take back all the resolutions passed in Calcutta in 1906. Passed in Calcutta in 1906. Moderates were impressed by proposal of reforms presented by British. Moderates were impressed by proposal of reforms presented by British. But extremists wanted a strict resolution implementing the partition of Bengal. Implementing the partition of Bengal. Means anti-partition movement of Bengal, implementing the anti-partition movement of Bengal. That is 4 resolutions: Swadeshi, boycott, national education, and self-government or Swaraj. The president of the Surat session was Ras Bihari Ghosh. In Surat session, there was chaos, conflict, so therefore, moderates decided to expel moderates expelled extremists from the Congress. Moderates expelled extremists from the Congress. Moderates expelled extremists from Congress. Okay, so Surat session. So Surat session was victory of British. Victory of British. The division of Congress had made Indian national movement dormant. Had made Indian national movement dormant. The division of Congress had made Indian national movement dormant. The division of Congress had made Indian national movement dormant. After Surat session, Lala Lajpat Rai he shifted to America and devoted himself in philosophical studies. He studied the philosophy of Mazzini, Garibaldi, Lord Krishna. So Lala Lajpat Rai was not active. He was expelled from the Congress, and then after he shifted to America and devoted himself in the philosophical studies. Bipin Chandra Pal, he accepted the moderate principle. Accepted the moderate principle. And Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he was imprisoned for 6 years. 6 years. And imprisoned in Mandalay jail, Burma. Mandalay jail, Burma. imprisoned for 6 years and imprisoned in Mandalay jail, Burma. But look, Surat session should not be called as a real split between Congress, between moderate and extremist, because after long time, when Tilak released from jail, so Tilak was imprisoned in 1908 and he was released in 1914. So when he was released from jail in 1914, then after some modification in the Congress, some moderation in the voice of Tilak also, in 1916 Lucknow session, Tilak entered in Congress. Tilak entered in Congress. 1916 Lucknow session, Tilak entered in Congress. So this division was only an ideological division. You can write in continuity with the Surat session that division of Congress in Surat was not a real division, but it was ideological difference between moderate and extremist, between moderate and extremist. It was ideological division between moderate and extremist. Ideological division between moderate and extremist. In 1914, after release of Tilak from jail, 1914, after release of Tilak from jail, there was some modification in the Constitution of Congress, some modification in the Constitution of Congress, and moderation in voice of Tilak, moderation in voice of Tilak, with the help of Annie Besant, with the help of Annie Besant, with the help of Annie Besant, extremists reunited in Lucknow session of 1916. Lucknow session of 1916. Extremists reunited in Lucknow session of 1916. So Surat split was not a real split, but ideological difference. Surat split was not a real split, but ideological difference. So Lucknow session of 1916. So we have seen that how aggressively things was going on between moderate and extremist Congress and Muslim League. All were very aggressive. So Lord Curzon, he was the masterman of the politics of divide and rule. So some of the statement of Curzon. Regarding partition of Bengal, he made a statement to appease the Muslims. He said, since the days of Prophet Muhammad, Muslims are fighting for their own homeland. Muslims are fighting for their own homeland. And it is biggest responsibility of the British it is the biggest responsibility of the British to provide them. Biggest responsibility of the British to provide them. Regarding the division of Indian National Congress, he said, this statement in 1903. Look, Congress became the plank for Indian national movement. So obviously the Congress was proving like a biggest problem to the British, because all the nationalist sentiments were guided by this. So division of Indian National Congress in 1903, Curzon said, look, there was a difference between moderate and extremist, so that was opportunity for the British. Moderate and extremist had all sort of differences. So that was opportunity for the British. So looking at that opportunity, Curzon said in 1903 that Congress is tottering to its fall. Curzon said Congress is tottering to its fall. And one of the biggest ambition of my life, is to give it peaceful demise. One of the biggest ambition of my life is to give it peaceful demise. Congress is tottering to its fall, and one of the biggest ambition of my life is to give it peaceful demise. One of the biggest ambition of my life is to give it peaceful demise. One of the biggest ambition of my life is to give it peaceful demise. So Congress is tottering to its fall. One of the biggest ambition of my life is to give it peaceful demise. But both the issues, both the statement, so after the Curzon resignation, Minto came, then Harding came. So Harding was actually responsible for shifting up the capital. So Delhi Darbar, the three announcements was made. Three announcements was made that partition of Bengal was taken back. So annulment of the partition of Bengal or partition of Bengal was taken back. Second, Bihar was separated from Bengal. So Bihar was separated from Bengal is not a partition, because the Biharis and Bengalis are culturally same but linguistically different. So there was a demand of separate Bihar from the people of Bihar itself. Linguistically very different. So this is the reason why this should not be cited as a partition. And third was capital of India shifted from Calcutta to Delhi. So Calcutta to Delhi, Lord Harding, he came by a train and then he was ready to shift the office. So he shifting to Delhi. So karma of elephant was managed for the viceroy, like a state entry. So karma of elephant was made, and on one elephant Viceroy Hardinge was sitting. Viceroy Hardinge was sitting. Viceroy Hardinge was sitting on one elephant. He was sitting on one elephant. So once he crossing through the Chandni Chowk, somebody was waiting desperately for him in Chandni Chowk. His name was Ras Bihari Bose. So Ras Bihari Bose, he was waiting near Chandni Chowk. Chandni Chowk. He was on the bicycle. There was a bomb in Jhola on the bicycle. There was a bomb in Jhola. So he threw away the bomb. Throw away the bomb. Although bomb did not hit Lord Hardinge, but Ras Bihari Bose, he ran away from there. So 1912, this man, after throwing the bomb, ran away. 3 years he is hid somewhere in India, and thereafter he escaped from India. British police keep on searching Ras Bihari Bose, and finally he was spotted in Japan in 1942. He was with the Indian National Army along with Subhash Chandra Bose. So 1942. So Chandni Chowk to Japan, such a solid marathon by Ras Bihari Bose. He crossed everything, ran away from the small area of Chandni Chowk. So Chandni Chowk to Japan. So we went for the solid marathon. So Ras Bihari Bose. He threw bomb on Lord Hardinge while look at the previous year question on your screen. He wrote biographies of Mazzini, Garibaldi, Shivaji. And stayed in America for some time and elected as the member of the Central Assembly. Sri Krishna stayed in America for some time and was also elected to the Central Assembly. He was Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai. Wow, great answer. The extremist lack of faith in the capacity of the moderate to negotiate with the British government. So answer is B. Answer is B. So we'll enter in the phase of Gandhian politics tomorrow. So that's all for the day. We'll see you tomorrow.